Hello, fourth grade. Welcome to class. Today we are going to be finishing up a couple of problems of multiplication and finishing our understanding of that concept with the introduction of division. All right, division is a different concept that is going to be a little bit more difficult than what we learned in third grade, but I know that you can do it. So let's actually continue with page 27 and remember that we did these two problems in class. You can check your answers right here. Here are your answers. So if you need to, pause the video to check your answers. And then we're going to do letter C. Okay, letter C together. So let's open up to page 27 and let's do letter C together. Okay, letter C says the following: 5,987 times 8. Now what we need to do again is we need to estimate first. All right, an estimation. So an estimation in this case would cause 5,987 to round up to 6,000. So we're going to put 6,000 right here. Okay, and our 8 just transfers over to our blank. I know that 8 times 6 equals 48, right? So if we have 6 times 8, which equals 48, let's bring that over here, then we can do 6,000 times 8 a whole lot easier. So 48 is our base number, and then we're just going to remember that there are 3 zeros in our problem. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now let's do the multiplication so we can compare the answer that we found in our estimation with the actual multiplication problem. 7 times 8 is 56. I know that because I looked at my trusty multiplication table, right? 7 times 8 is 56. Now what we need to do is add 5. 56 plus 5 equals 61. I'm going to put my 1 on the bottom and my 6 on the top. All right, now what we're going to do is multiply 9 times 8. 9 times 8 is 72, and 72 plus 6 on the top equals 78. I'm going to put my 8 on the bottom and my 7 on the top. 5 times 8 is 40, and 40 plus 7 equals 47. So 47 goes right here. Again, all my numbers are in one nice line. You can see my numbers line up, right? This number, this answer is right underneath, right? Now, we don't have a 10,000 spot, but that number would be right there, right? I have a question for you. Is our estimation pretty similar to our final answer from our multiplication? Yes, it is, because 47,816 would round up to the nearest thousand as 48,000. There's also 5 digits in my estimation and 5 digits in my answer. So there you go. Let's do the next problem, letter D. Letter D says 8,045 times 9. Again, we're going to estimate this problem, which means that we're going to ask if 8,045 goes up to 9,000 or down to 8,000. Well, we know that it's much closer to 8,000, so we're going to put 8,000 on the blank. We're multiplying this number by 9, and if we look at the two base numbers, 8 and 9 in 8,009, we're multiplying 8 by 9. So 8 times 9 is 72. I'm going to put 72 in my blank, and I'm going to count my zeros. I have 1, 2, 3 zeros in my problem, so I'm going to have 3 zeros in my answer. My estimation is 72,000. Now let's do the multiplication to see if our estimation is similar to our answer. 5 times 9 is 45. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 4 is 40. 0 times 9 is 0, plus 4 is 4. And 9 times 8 is 72. I know that 72,000 is similar to 72,405. Great job. Now what I'm going to have you do is do the next problem. This time you're going to pause the video and you're going to do it on your own. So please pause the video and do this problem on your own. All right, what answer did you come up with? Let's see. I know that 6,473 can either be rounded up to the nearest 1,000 or down to the nearest 1,000. So it would either be 6,000 or 7,000. In reality, this 4 looks over to the next number, the 7, and it tells it to go, it could go up. We could say that it's actually 6,500. So it's actually in the middle of 7,000 and 6,000. All right, I'm going to put just 6,000 just so that we have a number to multiply by. We're multiplying by 6. So our number, our answer is going to actually be, we're gonna put both numbers, I think, times 6. Our number, our estimation is going to be between, well, 6 times 7 is 42, so between 42,000 and 36,000. Okay, this time we have what's called a range of numbers. This range of numbers is going to have our answer fall in between these two numbers. It's going to be in between these two, okay? Let's now do the multiplication to see if we are correct. 3 times 6 is 18. 7 times 6 is 42. Plus 1 is 43. 6 times 7 is, 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 4 is 28. And our last problem, 6 times 6 is 36. Plus 2 is 38. All right, so if our final answer is 38,838, we're going to look at our estimation to see if it's approximately the same. It is. Just like I said, it falls in between 36,000 and 42,000. 38,838 is our final answer. Good job. If you'd like more practice, we will look at some games at the end. If you'd like to play any one of these games for the multiples or the factors, it will help you out with multiplication a whole lot. For example, Number Ninja is a great site. Turtle Diary is an awesome site. And mathframe.co.uk is another really good site. Today, boys and girls, what we're going to be doing is practicing division. Okay, I'm going to show you a video on division that would be a good idea for you to watch. We're not going to watch the entire thing, but as you can see on the screen, it is Math Antics.
Grammarly does more than...
So we're going to watch that video. All right, give me one second.
Catch errors. With Grammarly.
When we're looking at division, boys and girls, we need to understand that division is done in different steps, okay? It's done in different ways, in Maximo and in Prime. So let's actually look at this and find out the different ways.
36. If you haven't already watched our video about basic division, then be sure to go back and watch that first. It'll make learning long division a lot easier. Long division is just a way of breaking up a bigger division problem into a series of short division steps like the ones that we did in the basic division video. The nice thing about long division is that once you know the procedure, you can divide up all kinds of numbers, even if they're really big. The key to long division is to think about our division problem digit by digit. If our dividend, the number we're dividing up, has a lot of digits, then that means that there'll be a lot of division steps to do. When we learned basic one-step division, all of the dividends were small enough that we could just use the multiplication table to help us find the answer. But what if we have a division problem like this? 936 divided by 4. 936 is definitely not on our multiplication table. In fact, there's not anything even close to 936. So what do? Well, instead of trying to divide the entire 936 by 4 all at once, let's break this problem up into smaller steps by just trying to divide each digit by 4, one digit at a time, digit by digit. Do you remember how with multi-digit multiplication and addition, we always start with the smallest digit, the ones place digit, and we work from right to left? Well, division is backwards. We still go digit by digit, but the other way. We start by trying to divide up the digit in the biggest number place first, and we work our way from left to right. So the first step in this problem is to divide the first digit of our dividend by 4. We'll just ignore the other digits for now. And that makes it look like we have the division problem 9 divided by 4. Great, that's easy. It's just a basic division problem like in the last video. So we ask, how many 4s will it take to make 9 or almost 9? Well, 2 4s would be 8, and that's almost 9. So just like before, we put the 2 in our answer spot on top of the line. But wait a minute. There's a lot of room up there. Where exactly do we put it? Well, the answer digit should always go directly above the digit we're dividing. Since we're dividing the digit 9, our 2 should go right above the 9. Okay, now we multiply. 2 times 4 is 8, and the 8 goes below the 9 so that we can subtract to get our remainder. 9 minus 8 is 1, so our remainder is 1. Now at this point, in our basic one-step division problems, we would rewrite our remainder up in our answer with a little r next to it. But we aren't going to do that yet because this is long division and we still have more digits to divide, the ones we've been ignoring. Since we're going digit by digit, let's stop ignoring the next digit in our dividend, the 3. Now you might think that our next division step is to divide that 3 by the 4, but it's not quite that simple. We had a remainder from our last division step, and we can't just forget about that. We need to combine that remainder with our next digit and divide them both together. We do that by bringing down a copy of the next digit, the 3, and put it right beside the remainder, which is 1. When we do that, it looks like our remainder is 13. It's kind of like our remainder is teaming up with the next digit over. And if you think about it, that makes sense, because the digits that we were ignoring during our first division step really are part of the remainder because we still need to divide them. Okay, so bringing down that next digit makes our remainder bigger. And that's good because before, the remainder was so small that 4 couldn't divide into it. But now it's 13, and 4 will divide into 13. So we ask, how many 4s will it take to make 13? Well, 3 4s would be 12, and that's really close without being too big. So let's put 3 in our answer line. Yep, it goes right over the 3 because that's the next digit we were dividing in this digit by digit process. And then 3 times 4 is 12, which we put right below the 13 so that we can subtract to get the next remainder, which will also be 1. See how we're just repeating the basic division procedure, but we're going further down the screen as we do. Alright, now that we have a new remainder, it's time for our next division step. Let's stop ignoring the last digit in the dividend, the 6, and bring down a copy of it to team up with our new remainder. Together, they form a remainder of 16. Aha! That's good because it's going to be easy to divide 4 into 16 because 16 is a multiple of 4. It takes exactly 4 4s to make 16. So we put a 4 in the last place of our answer line, and then we write the 16 below our new remainder. Now, if we subtract 16 from 16, we see that our last remainder will be 0, which means there's no remainder left. That's great! We solved the whole division problem, digit by digit, by breaking it up into 3 basic division steps. And now we know that 936 divided by 4 equals 234.
All right, so we're going to stop that right there. That's just a little bit of review on how to divide. Now let's open to page 29 and let's do a couple of problems together. Once you're on page 29, you'll notice that we are going to be dividing 2,486 by 2. Just like the video told us, we need to see how many times the 2 enters the number 2,486. Well, I know that 2 enters 2 just one time. Again, I'm going to put my 1 right above the number. 1 times 2 is 2, and then I subtract. 2 minus 2 is 0. I'm going to bring my number down, bring a copy of that number down, and I'm going to ask, how many times does 2 go into 4? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. So 2 goes in my answer blank, and 4 goes on the bottom. Now I subtract, just like my first step. 4 minus 4 is 0. Again, I'm going to bring my next number down, and that copy is 8. 2 times what number equals 8? Well, if I look at my trusty multiplication table, I know that 2 times 4 equals 8. So 4 goes in my answer blank. 4 times 2 is 8. And I continue by subtracting. 8 minus 8 is 0. And I'm going to bring my next number down. How many times does 2 go into 6? Well, 2 times 3 equals 6. So 3 goes in my answer blank. 3 times 2 is 6. I subtract, and I come up with 0. There are no more numbers to come down into my answer, so I am finished. My final answer is 1,243. I also know that if I check that, 2 times 1,243 will give me my answer, which is 2,486. There we go. There's my first answer for my division problem on page 29. Let's do the next problem together. Letter B. Letter B says 5,284 divided by 4. Well, I know that 4 can enter 5 one time. So let's put that there. Let's change the color. Let's go purple this time. 4 can go into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. And I'm going to bring my next number down. The question is, how many times does 4 go into 12? Well, 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to put my answer 3 on the top and my 12 on the bottom. 12 minus 12 is 0. And I'm going to bring the copy of the next number down, which is 8. My next question is, how many times does 4 go into 8? Well, 4 times, let me bring that down, 4 times 2 equals 8. So 2 goes on the top, and my 8 goes on the bottom. I will subtract, just like normal, and I find it is 0. I'm going to bring my 4 down and ask, how many times does 4 go into 4? Well, 4 times 1 equals 4. So 1 goes on my answer blank. 4 minus 4 equals 0, and there's no more numbers to bring down. So my final answer is 1,321. Check your answers, boys and girls, to make sure that you're doing this correctly. Now let's go to problem letter C. We have the number 6,805 divided by 5. 6,805 divided by 5. You'll notice again, we're putting it inside of this symbol right here. The larger number goes on the inside, and the smaller number goes on the outside. In other words, what we're dividing by goes on the outside. All right, let's start dividing. what should we ask? Well, 5 goes into 6 how many times? Well, I know that 1 times 5 equals 5. So it enters 6 one time, but there's going to be a remainder. So I'm going to put my 1 on the top, times 5 is 5, and this time we're going to come up with a remainder. 6 minus 5 equals 1. And I'm going to bring down my next number, 18. All right, now I need to see how many times does 5 enter 18? In other words, 5 times what number is approximately 18? Well, if I look at my multiplication table, you'll notice that 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 4 is 20. So it cannot be 4 because that would actually go over the number. So it must be a number that's smaller, like 3. 5 times 3 equals 15, which is the first number that's closest without going over 18. So we're going to put our 3 on the top. 3 times 5 is 15. Now we subtract. 18 minus 15 is 3. We're going to continue by bringing down our next number, which is a 0. We're going to put that right next to the 3. Now we ask, how many times can 5 enter 30? That should be pretty simple. I know that 5 times 6 equals 30. So I do my subtraction problem, 30 minus 30, which equals 0. And then I'm going to bring down my next number, my 5. Well, we already know that 1 times 5 equals 5, so I'm going to put my 1 in the blank. 1 times 5 equals 5, and 5 minus 5 equals 0. My final answer is 1,361. Please check your answer to make sure that you did that correctly. If I really wanted to check it again, I could do 5 times 1,361 and see if that truly is our original number, 6,805. Let me do it on the calculator to see if that is the correct answer. Let me check my answer. 5 times 1,361 equals 6,805. Good job. It's the same number. We did it correctly. All right, I'm going to erase this, and I'd like you to do letter D on your own, okay? Letter D, I'd like you to try that on your own. So pause the video and try to do letter D on your own. All right, we will check letter D during the next class, next Monday, which I believe is the 25th. So we will check this problem next time. So for now, we don't know what the answer is, but we will check it. What I'd like you to do, boys and girls, is I'd like to encourage you to practice division in any way that you can, okay? Even if you just go to Google and you type in division practice, you'll come up with a whole bunch of different videos and games. If you want to even put in game, you can put in game. Okay, there's lots of different games that you can play. For example, multiplication.com has quite a few. All right, here's one. You can practice division. Okay, putting things in a row. All right, just understanding that concept. All right. So let's see. And a couple in a row. divided by 9. 4 again. Let's try to see. Oh, he blocked me. 12 divided by 4, that's 3. Okay, so you understand the point of the game. Alright, so there's lots of different games that you can play. Another one that you could play, you could watch the video again if you wanted to. Otherwise, on Math Playground, they always have really great games. Okay, here's an example. So you're computing, you're practicing your computation with division. 10 divided by 5. Correct answer would be, well, let's see. Okay, here we go. 14 divided by 7. 2. 60 divided by 6. 10. Ooh, 84 divided by 7. What is that one? Well, 7 goes into 8 one time. And if I would do 8 minus 7 is 1. So bring down my 1, 14. 7 goes into 14 two times. Let's see if it's 12. Check. All right, I got it correct. So that concludes the class for today. Hopefully next time we will play a Kahoot just to practice a little bit more. But you've been a great class, and we will see you next week, Monday.